Hello, my name is Phyllis Escobar, and today we're going to have a short talk on mindfulness. So let's get started. Mindfulness is defined as being aware in the moment of things going on around you or things going on in your mind, your emotions, your thoughts, and just accepting it with objectivity and noticing and being with yourself. So, two components of mindfulness that we'll talk about are, once again, like I mentioned, awareness. Mindfulness is really mostly about taking the time to be aware of what's going on and slowing down enough not to be reactive, but to stop, process what's happening, process what you're thinking, process what you're feeling, process what's going on around you, and to accept it rather than to react and just sort of let that overwhelm you. So, acceptance. Thoughts, feelings, maybe memories, maybe things that are happening around you. Just taking that into your mind in a non-judgmental manner and noticing how it's happening, noticing how your thoughts are coming in, noticing how you're feeling, noticing what you're sensing, just with a spirit of letting it be as it is rather than trying to change it. Some of your benefits from mindfulness include reduced symptoms of anxiety and stress, a greater satisfaction with your relationships with others, relationships with yourself, and of course, improved focus. Taking the time to practice mindfulness throughout your day will help you improve focus, memory, and being present with what's happening around you. And of course, some of that can lead to memory. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Sometimes when things happen, or if things are going to happen, or you're receiving information that is stressful, you'll focus on the problem, and it can be a cycle of rumination. Being present and practicing mindfulness helps pull you out of that rumination and out of those cycles, and can help you reset and face what's ahead, accepting all that's happening now. Another thing that helps is with reduced stress, you can adapt to changes a little easier. And so using your imagination, using some of the more positive parts of you, you can adapt to new problems that come your way if you take the moment to not let the negative aspect overwhelm you. Be mindful, ground yourself, and then you can have access to the positive parts of you that can help get through the problem. So part of being mindful also is noticing your emotions. Why would we want to notice our emotions? I mean, they're happening. It seems like you already have, right? But to slow down and really process the emotions that you have, to be present with them with intention, can help you decide how you want to respond to some of the thoughts and emotions that you're having, rather than letting those emotions just carry you. So those are some of the benefits of mindfulness. There are many others, I'm sure, and perhaps maybe if you want to, you can take a minute to write down some others that you're thinking of. So with our practice of mindfulness, we're going to talk about 4 little exercises that you can do to ground yourself. You can do probably the first one you're probably going to want to do maybe at home or in a place that you're really comfortable. So the first one I'll mention is meditation. Sometimes when you think of meditation, you think about it taking a long time or being really intensive, or you're not really sure what to expect. With this practice, a beginner can start out by just setting their phone alarm for a minute, or 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however long you're comfortable with. You'll want to go ahead and set down maybe a blanket on your couch or on your bed, or you can sit on the floor on a yoga mat, in your favorite chair, and just find a place where you can sit down and be comfortable. Then as you're starting, you'll want to focus your mind on your breathing. That's always the best place to start. We always are continually breathing. We're always continually processing what's taking us in, but starting with your breath is the easiest way to start a meditation session. So what you'll want to do is just take your breaths in a little deeper, roll your shoulders back a little, maybe relax into your chair or into your seat, and breathe all the way down through your diaphragm, and notice the breath coming in and coming out. As you're breathing, you'll want to take note of other sensations that might come to you. Maybe you'll notice areas in your body where you're feeling tension, or maybe you'll notice thoughts that have been sort of taking hold of you for the day. Maybe you'll notice noises or things happening around you. But as the distractions come in, you'll want to, the objective here is to go ahead and let those things be as they are and not try to control or change them, and continue to refocus on your breath and bringing that into you and back out, and just letting that continue with acceptance. So when you're ready to return to your concentration, to your day, maybe the alarm will go off, or maybe you're just feeling like you've done enough and are ready to move on, you can go ahead and break your meditative session and enjoy the rest of your day knowing that you took a moment to practice mindfulness and give some space to yourself. The second exercise that we're going to go over is a body scan. So during this exercise, you'll want to go ahead and once again find a comfortable place. However, it's not necessary. Maybe you can do this if you were in a waiting room, if you were riding somewhere. You don't necessarily have to have a quiet space to do a body scan, and it is very useful because you can do it in different situations. The goal here isn't to change or relax your body. The goal is really to check in with yourself and to notice what's happening in your body. Especially in a situation when you might be overwhelmed, this is a really useful practice to pull yourself back in and take charge of how you're going to respond to your situation. So instead of trying to get into any funny positions or trying any yoga, we're just going to notice what we're doing right now. You would start from the ground up and slowly move your way up to the top of your head from your feet and then back down again. So by paying attention to the sensations in your feet, you might notice how your shoes or socks feel. You might notice how your legs feel sitting against a chair. You might notice how your shirt feels on your shoulders. Maybe you'll notice a little bit of tension you're carrying in your chest or in your neck. And then as you move to the top of your head, try to keep a steady breath if you can, but really just focus on the sensation. Maybe you'll notice a little bit of wind in your hair or the temperature of the room and how that feels. And then moving back down through your neck, you can notice how your arms are feeling, your stomach, how it feels if you're sitting in a wooden chair, if you're sitting on a couch or in a car, and also once again through your legs, through your pelvis, through your legs, and back down to your feet. So the purpose of this really is to just move slowly, to sense who you are, where you are, what you are, everything that is very close to you within your personal space, to sense it and to take that in with objectivity and accept it. One more thing that you can do is mindful eating. So mindful eating, of course, is always the most fun part of being mindful because you get to choose your snack. You can take something as small as a raisin or a piece of chocolate, maybe an apple, and just hold it in your hand. Notice the things about the item that make it unique or significant. You can notice the weight of the item, the texture on the surface, maybe the way it smells. You can notice how it feels in your hand, play with it a little, if it's small enough, and how the light reflects off of the item. Now, as you pick it up, notice if it's rough, if it's smooth, the texture of the item. Hold it to your nose and smell it, and then put it in your mouth, but don't eat it. Just wait and see how it feels in your mouth. How does the texture feel? How does it feel once you start to chew? you can start to slowly chew it and pay attention to the flavor and the way that it feels. So as you continue to eat the food, just notice the sensations and the feelings that you get from it and enjoy it, but also just be aware rather than rushing through it. Take your time with the item and enjoy eating it, but also being mindful of what you're eating and how you do it. So the next one is a very quick little exercise that you can use for grounding and for mindfulness, and it is basically a quick check-in with all 5 of your senses. So just ask yourself these questions as you check in with yourself wherever you are, in the grocery store, at home, wherever you are, just check in and ask yourself, what are 5 things that I can see right now? You don't necessarily have to get too deep into it, and just identify. It's identifying your surroundings and what you're taking in. So look around you, notice 5 things that maybe you haven't noticed, maybe a pattern, maybe the way the light is filling a room, maybe an item that's close to you, and then another one that's farther away from you, and you can notice the distance between those 2 items. And maybe you notice a person in the room or a person across the street. Wherever you are, just pick 5 things and identify what you can see. The second thing you want to do is check in and ask yourself, what are 4 things that I can feel right now? Once again, kind of like a body scan, you can notice the shoes on your feet. You can notice a shirt touching your back. You can notice something that might be in your hand. Maybe notice the hair touching your face. Anything that might be nearby that you can feel. The next part is identify 4 to 3 things that you can hear. So perhaps there is construction outside, maybe there's music playing, people talking around you. Just identify 3 to 4 things that you can hear right now. And second, you can identify 2 things that you can smell. If you're in a coffee shop, maybe you're smelling some coffee beans, maybe you smell flowers nearby. And just check in and ask yourself something nearby, or if you can smell anything at all. Maybe you can't smell anything. Fresh cut grass. Sometimes you just zip through life and you don't really notice what you're smelling or what you're seeing, hearing, feeling. And lastly, what is something that you can taste? If you can't taste anything, maybe you put a piece of gum in your mouth. Once again, maybe you put a little piece of fruit or a snack nearby, and just take a minute to check in how that tastes. So each of these exercises are something that you can do every day. You can do it while doing your chores for the day, while enjoying a walk. You can do it if you're surrounded by friends or just by yourself. And it's a really good practice just to kind of habitually check in with yourself and notice how you're doing and what you're doing. And that really slows you down and helps you not to be reactive to the things that are happening in life, but to sense and process what's happening and then choose your decision of how you're going to feel and respond to it. So the next part that we'll talk about is a positive game that I like to play. So basically I wanted to create a challenge to our residents so that we can have a little chain going. What I encourage you to do is find a friend or a couple friends and exchange numbers with them, or you can exchange emails, contact information, and just set it up so that for 1 week you're going to check in with them and report 1 positive thing that happened that day. So I have a list of little questions here that can start you off, but you can also come up with your own things to talk about. So my first question here that you can ask a friend is, how has another person shown that they care about you today? Share the story of something exciting that happened today. Describe something fun that you did today. And what was something nice that someone said to you today? Describe something that made you laugh today. And describe something that you were thankful for today. Describe a challenge that you overcame today. And describe something that made you feel happy or cheerful today. Of course, you can come up with more of your questions for friends, and if you wanted to do more than one question a day, that would be great. But the idea is to start a dialogue of positivity and to make sure that you pay attention to the good things that are happening around you. Thank you for taking the time with me today to talk about positivity and mindfulness. I hope you enjoy this game or come up with something similar for yourself and your friends to be intentional about keeping a positive dialogue going and focusing on the good in life. Please feel free to share or write down these questions or other ideas that you have in a journal and share with friends. Just keep all of the positive energy flowing, and remember to practice mindfulness as often as you can. Thank you.